Hi everyone. Today I have come with book recommendations. Like I had mentioned in my earlier post, I wanted to recommend books to people during this gifting season and also for people who want to buy books for themselves. So I have come with three books today. Okay, so these three books are in three different genres. One is a book from nonfiction, and one is proper fiction, and one is sci-fi, okay, science fiction. So I'm very excited about these three books, two of which I had not even heard of, and one of which I've been hearing about for a long time. So let me start with the non-fiction one. It's called The Monk of Mocha, written by David Eggers. This is the true account of the life of Mukhtar Al-Khanshali. So it's a Yemeni name and I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it right. So Mukhtar is raised in San Francisco. He has a very troubled childhood. His parents are from Yemen, and he has a very troubled childhood. He is unable to focus on anything. He skips class. He is labeled as a troublemaker, and he starts working, and he keeps jumping jobs until at the age of 24 he becomes the doorman at a very luxurious apartment, and there he comes to know about Yemeni coffee. He comes to know that Yemeni coffee was once the best coffee, considered the best coffee in the world. And now it has completely vanished from the scene. Almost completely vanished from the scene. So this 24-year-old suddenly decides that he's going to, know more about it, and he's going to propagate Yemeni coffee. He's going to bring Yemeni coffee to America. And with that aim in mind, he does a lot of research and he goes to Yemen. And what happens is there is war over there. He's caught in the middle, but still he perseveres. He talks to farmers, and not only does he want to bring the coffee to America, but he also wants to empower the farmers, the coffee farmers in Yemen. And this is the fascinating story of Mukhtar, the monk of Mocha, and how he brings coffee to America and how he establishes an empire. This book is written by the Pulitzer winner David Eggers, and there is a lot of descriptions about coffee, the coffee making, the coffee powdering, and the techniques, the roasting, grinding, the techniques of coffee and different kinds of coffee. So this sounds extremely interesting. The Monk of Mocha by David Eggers. And if you're in the mood for something like this, or if you know somebody who's interested in coffee and who is interested in the history of coffee and who is interested in somebody like Mukhtar, do buy this for them or buy this for yourself. So that was The Monk of Mocha by David Eggers. Now moving on to literary fiction, and this is The Little French Bistro by Nina George. So Little French Bistro is about Marianne. Marianne is a 60-year-old woman, and she is so fed up with her husband, who is mean and spiteful and extremely selfish, and he has been controlling Marianne's life for a long, long time. And they go to Paris, and there something happens to Marianne, and she decides to just up and leave her husband and go. There's something tragic which happens, okay? And so she decides to go by herself, and she ends up in this French village. She starts working in the cafe there. And the people she meets, and the characters she meets, and the viewpoints she gets about life. This is what you will be reading about and in The Little French Bistro by Nina George. It's Marianne's story. It's her journey. It is what happens to her and how she changes and what brings about the change in her. The people who bring about the change in her, and the cafe where she works, the Little French Bistro where she works. So these are the things that are very, very interesting in this book, The Little French Bistro by Nina George. Total fiction. It's very, very mainstream fiction. And now we come to the third book, which for me is the most interesting of the three. So this is called Psalm for the Wild Built, written by Becky Chambers. And this is science fiction, or a very, very niche area of science fiction called solar punk, which I did not know about. If you want to know more about it, sorry, Google it, and it's really interesting to read about. Okay, so this is solar punk or science fiction for laypersons like me. So Psalm for the Wild Build seems extremely interesting. It's set in the future on a moon called Panga, which is habited by humans. So at the time that this story is set, there are no robots anywhere, okay? Because hundreds of years before, robots and humans used to stay side by side, and suddenly the robots, they went into the wilderness and they removed themselves from human society, never to be seen again. So come back to the present, and we have got Dex. Dex is a tea monk. Dex is the main protagonist, and Dex identifies as gender non-binary and would prefer to be known as they them. So, tea monks are people who go around, meet other people, and they interact with them, they brew tea for them, and the kind of tea that they brew makes them happy, makes the other people happy. Sounds very nice, no? Imagine encountering such a person and you're like calm, and the person brews tea for you, and you sit there and you tell them about your issues, and the tea that they make for you will make you feel much better. They actually try to brew tea to give people what they need. So what happens is, one day Dex wanders into the wilderness and they encounter a robot, and they are shocked because robots have never been seen by humans. The robot has a name. It's Splendid Speckled Mosscap. So Splendid Speckled Mosscap and Dex set out on a journey together. Both of them want to find out an abandoned monastery. But basically, they are trying to answer the question of what do people need. The rest of the book is a series of conversations between Dex, the tea monk, and the robot, Splendid Speckled Mosscap. They talk about the purpose of life and what people are looking for, and so many other things. What happened to robots, and the life of Dex, and so many very interesting conversations. So I think it'll be a very interesting read, okay? Because of the three, this is the one that I'm most intrigued by, not even more, most intrigued by. So if you know of somebody who would be interested in something like this, or if you feel like reading something like this, do check it out. The Psalm for the Wild Built, written by Becky Chambers. So those were the three book recommendations for today. Nonfiction is The Monk of Mocha, written by David Eggers. Then comfortable fiction is The Little French Bistro by Nina George, and science fiction or solar punk is Psalm for the Wild Built, written by Becky Chambers. Do go check it out and tell me if you like it. If any of you read it, do tell me how it was. And I'll be coming back again with more book recommendations. Like the next couple of posts of mine are all going to be recommendations, okay? So if you have any recommendations for me, do let me know. I'd love to know more about it. So till we meet again for the next video, you guys stay safe, take care of yourself, have a great holiday, and please read. Bye bye.